Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host El Young, and we are here with Michael J. Miller from MGM. So, Michael, welcome.
Hi, thanks for the interview.
Yeah, no worries. My pleasure. Could you introduce yourself and what you do within MGM?
Okay, yeah, my name is Michael J. Miller of MJM, and I write the songs, play lead guitar, and sing the lead vocals and direct the group.
Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, so let's dive into a few questions. As a kid, what were you listening to?
Well, the big hot influence for me was, of course, hearing the Beatles, but you know that Beatlemania was a great thing, but it kept evolving into psychedelic music as the Beatles did, and new artists came along like Jimi Hendrix and other great guitar players like Johnny Winters or whatever, and then Black Sabbath came along, which really changed the sound of rock. And
Yeah,
I would have to say that that was a big game changer for me, where I started to get into the whole culture of uh, of hard rock metal, right?
yeah, yeah.
And after that, there are other groups like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden that I follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, cool, cool. Who actually got you into music? Was it a family member, or was it your parents, or a sibling, or was it just like a natural progression for you?
That's a nice question. It was all everything, everyone that you just mentioned was a big part. My father played saxophone and clarinet in the Air Force, Canadian Air Force band. My mother was a piano player. My sister played the piano, so I got to hear everybody playing their instruments. My brother played guitar, and that was the first time I was able to get my hands on a guitar. Of course, I was just a little kid, and I all I could do was make noise with the thing. But my parents put me in for guitar lessons at the age of 9. And so I started studying reading music and learning chords with a good teacher. I had a good teacher at the age of 9, and I took lessons for probably 2 or 3 years. And around the age of 12, I dropped out of lessons, but I kept playing my guitar. Um, and my brothers and sisters were quite uh, helpful in the way that they would always hear a song and say, "Hey, why don't you try and play that?" And I'd have to try and find the notes on the neck. You know what I mean? I think the first riff I had, my brother tried me to learn was the Cream, "Sunshine of Your Love." And then my sister had me trying to do some grand funk music, and I bought let's see, Alice Cooper, "Love It to Death," and I was getting my bar chords and stuff together pretty good, and I started learning songs from Alice Cooper at an early age, and shortly after that, I started putting my own music together. I had this natural gift of getting songs in my mind, just singing in my head. I could be walking down the street at a certain beat with my feet and all of a sudden get a tune that's going in time with my footsteps. And I would remember these ideas and go home and grab my guitar and materialize them with the instrument itself. Yeah, long answer.
Yeah, cool, cool. So, who actually inspired you to become a musician? Was it your family, or was it like the Beatles, like you mentioned earlier, or was it something completely different?
I think noticing that I could write my own music, it was my own intuition to continue on as a musician. I know that when I was in grade 8 and in school, and the teacher said, "Okay, class, I want everybody to think about what they would like to do when they uh, become an adult." And the teacher went from through 30 students one at a time. When they got to me, I said, I want to be a rock star at in grade 8. Of course, that was quite a different answer than any other kid. And I was serious about it. And I was already working on it. So it was really me that did it. My father warned me about the music business. He said, listen, are you sure you don't want a job? He offered me a good job with paying good money at an early age. I said, I don't want to do it. I want to work on my music. I want to be in my band, and I'm a musician. So, in spite of my father's warnings, and he was right about the business, he knew it's it's a tough business, and you really have to do it for the love of rock and roll, because rock and roll doesn't love you back necessarily. You just have to keep loving it because you're great at it.
Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is like you do have to work at it, and you love it before you. Yeah, you got to
Well,
do it for the love of it.
yeah, the obstacles that come up in the business are there's many obstacles as an artist, and the better you are, the harder it is, because there's so many things working against you, especially if you have high expectations of what you want to achieve.
Yeah, true, true. So, what band were you in before you started MGM?
um, my first recording act was Rapid Tears, and we released 2 albums, and they went all around the world in an underground sort of cult type of way. I don't know if you know the metal mag called Aardschok. Um, we were number 2. Merciful Fate were number 1 in one issue, and Rapid Tears were number 2 out of 100, and metal. So yeah, the Rapid Tears stuff has quite a cult following right now. It's actually signed to a European label called Sonic Age Records, Cult Metal Classics. So you can get the Rapid Tears material there if you want to buy downloads or the actual product. After that, Rapid Tears lasted about 7 years, and then things fell apart, as we know that happens to a lot of bands, and it was unfortunate. But anyways, I kept continuing writing, and I put together a new group of musicians. Actually, I used my other guitar mate buddy, Clayton Bonin from Rapid Tears, and we put a new band together called Adrenaline, and recorded a great sounding album called Dedicated, Adrenaline Dedicated. And it was signed to a German label. Long Island Records was the label. I think something happened to one of the partners. I think he passed away, and then they changed their name to Maple Leaf Records or something like that. I can't remember. But the Adrenaline thing album, it sold a lot in Europe, and we wound up doing a number of FM radio station interviews in Europe, but it never got signed to a North American label, which was unfortunate. So we didn't have the support at home where we needed it the most, and things went strange in that way with the lead singers. The fellow that sang on the first album, we had to replace and get a new singer, and things didn't work out with that second singer. And it was at that point that I more or less quit my own band, and I said, I'm going solo. I'm doing my own vocals. I've always been the writer. I'm going to write my own songs and sing them. That way, I'm not going to abandon myself or disappoint myself.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, so what have you been up to, especially over these last couple of years?
Well, we finished MJM4 album in 2020, which was the beginning of the pandemic. So it didn't really get a fair release. Everything was shutting down as we completed this album. So I know even a few different mags and whatever are referring to it now as we're re-releasing the album in 2022. In my opinion, it never really got released, even though it was released. It didn't get a fair shake until this pandemic thing started settling down, and uh, the music industry is now starting to operate again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Could you?
uh, since we finished that, I've been working on new songs. I'm actually in the recording studio right now working on some new songs for the next MJM album.
Yeah. Cool. Could you tell us a little bit about the album Four, so people can like expect what if they want to go out and actually check it out? Could expect what to find on the album?
Yeah. MJM4, it took a long time to complete it and get it to the quality that it is. The songs are heavy. We're not a death metal band. We're traditional type metal, and a lot of the songs on that album are concept based. You can see the front cover is an alien face, a green alien with four on its IV Roman numerals, four on the forehead. And a lot of the songs are based around searching outer space and our correlation with aliens. One song, Humanoid, talks about aliens breeding with humans, making humanoid. The other song, Could It Be, is looking up in space and thinking, what is out there? What is that star? Or what is that thing moving in the sky? Could there be life out there? And then Treasure, the song Treasure, the first lyrics, looking into space, the telescope reveals 7 special planets, 40 light years. So that song deals with the 7 exoplanets that may have similar elements or qualities that are habitable for humans. Yeah, so there's a bit of a concept with the album, but there are a few other songs on the album that go into a more uh, domestic type of environment. There's Since You've Been Gone, which is like a blues metal type of broken-hearted song, and Love's a Crime. Then there's another song called Death Crimes, which talks about a serial killer, right? But generally, the songs are all MJM, some with the concept alien, and others with other factors of life.
Yeah, cool, cool. Could you tell us what you've been working on these last couple of months? Because you were in your studio.
Well, I've been doing a lot of interviews and writing new songs for the next album. I'm actually working with my producer right now on a song called Live It Up, which is pretty cool. I always like to inspire positive thoughts to people as instead of portraying some sort of negative concept, right? So this song, Live It Up, is encouraging people not to give up on, regardless of the cards are dealt, never give up, live it up, right? Yeah. And yeah, I've got a number of other songs. Some are instrumental. As you may have noticed on each album that MJM has released, there's been a good number of vocal songs and a few flashy guitar themed instrumentals. as well. So I'm carrying on with the same sort of content, always evolving, of course.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Are you constantly Are you constantly writing new material, or are you just good? Are you Do you like sort of like sit down and actually say, I want to write this amount of songs, and then go into the studio and record them, or are you constantly writing new material?
Um, I have so many songs recorded already
Yeah.
that um, it's kind of half and half. Sometimes I'll remember, think of a song that's recorded, and I'll show it to my producer, and I'll say, "What do you think of this one?" And we may pick that to be one of the next songs, or we may take. As I said, I get ideas quite often, and now with cell phones, they have little handy recorders in them, so I can simply capture the idea on voice recorder or whatever, and listen to it later and take that idea and develop it into a song. So my songs that will be coming up on the next album may be new ideas, or they may be older ideas that were never really completed. But whatever will wind up on the album will be produced well and completed.
Cool, cool. Is there any plans for any tours of North America, or coming over to Europe?
There are plans, yes. We've been working on starting a Southern USA tour, which was supposed to start in February in Florida. We have a promoter down there that was organizing the tour. Um, I'm not sure if you know the weather news about the U.S. over in England or UK,
Yeah.
where, but uh, Florida was hit with one of the worst hurricanes in the last 100 years, just 2 weeks or a few weeks ago, and it actually struck the city that my promoter is in, Fort Myers, and that's where our first show was supposed to be. So that city was leveled, and I actually wasn't even able to communicate with the promoter for a few weeks because a lot of people lost everything there. He's okay, but there was some delay in putting this together. So our tour may be delayed a little bit. It's hard to say, but that's the plan. And then I have another management company that is involved with a lot of festivals in the UK, and but this is a newer development, and hopefully we'll be able to organize a bit of a tour of the UK or some of Europe as well.
Yeah, cool, cool,
US tour.
cool. Yeah, yeah. I know about Hurricane Ian. I know a good few people in Florida who actually got hit pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
My the promoter that I know of actually lost one of his friends who lived in a house right on the shoreline, and the waves came in and just swept away his house with his friend in the house. He disappeared. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, where can people find MJM on social media? Are you on Facebook, Instagram, like Twitter, or places like that?
Yes, we're on all the platforms. Uh, on YouTube, if you search Michael J. Miller Band, our MJM page will come up. Unfortunately, there was a boat company that was called MJM Yachts, and they scored the handle before I tried to register it. So uh, our icon says MJM, but you find us by searching Michael J. Miller Band. And on Facebook, we're MJM Michael J. Miller Band, and on Actually, our brand is at MJM Rocks, the at sign MJM Rocks. If you type in that, you'll see links to almost everything, right? And that address also works for Instagram, and I think it works for the Facebook page too. And Twitter, I think it's MJM Rocks as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So where can people find your music? Is it on like Spotify, Apple, Apple iTunes, or
Yeah,
Google Music?
it's on Spotify under MJM, and it is on Amazon, and it's on Apple Music as well. Yes.
Uh, this is probably going to be my last question. Any advice for people who want to become a musician?
Well, sure. First of all, you have to be a musician. If you want to become one, you better really practice and learn everything you can about your instrument and start playing with other members that can make a band so that you can start hearing what you're getting. Start recording your rehearsals, and you have to shoot for perfection. So you have to learn a lot about arranging all the instruments and controlling what happens so members aren't making a mess out of what you're doing. It's quite often members or musicians will overplay a part. For example, a drummer may play too much, and you've got to say, "Hey, can you just like put that in a simple beat with maybe a roll and quit going through the whole thing?" Or your bass player, a bass player or anybody could play the wrong parts instead of the right parts. So I do suggest that musicians do learn how to play cover music as well, because they'll learn from the structure of proven songs that have already hit the radio and are successful. You can learn a lot by analyzing what was done and what was not done in their material. So learning cover music is a good essential part of any musician's development to understand songwriting a little more. And when it comes to writing their own songs, well, give it a good shot. I just want to let them know that songs will come from up here. A song always comes from your imagination, or it may come off your instrument when you're playing, but nonetheless, it's something that you came up with. If you come up with a good idea in your instrument, try and capture that idea and see if you can develop it into something that sounds like a song.
Yeah, yeah, sound advice, sound advice. Anyway, Michael, thank you so much for coming on and doing this little interview. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, it was a pleasure having you as the host, Elliot. Thank you very much for having MJM, the Michael J. Miller Band, on the Metal Project Metal on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you so much. Guys, go check out Michael J. Miller Band, all on their social medias, and yeah, go check them out.
Great. Thanks very much, Elliot.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay. Have a good day. Thank you.